You mean to tell me that you intentionally invaded Earth? High Commander Zixtal's antenna twitched in what could only be described as the Arxian equivalent of a facepalm. Well, yes, but in our defense, Lieutenant Critic started, his mandibles clicking nervously. In your defense, what? Zixtal interrupted, his crystalline exoskeleton flashing warning patterns of deep red. Please, enlighten me on what possibly convinced you that invading a Class 12 death world was a good idea. The lieutenant's compound eyes darted around the debriefing chamber, desperately seeking support from his fellow officers. Finding none, he chittered softly before continuing. They seemed primitive, sir. They still use combustion engines for their ground transport, and their global communication network is horrifically inefficient. They haven't even unified under a single government. And yet, Zixtal said, pulling up a holographic display, your entire invasion force was defeated in under 3 solar rotations by what they refer to as, and I quote, a bunch of Florida men and their pet alligators. The chamber fell silent, save for the soft hum of life support systems and what sounded suspiciously like suppressed laughter from one of the junior officers. Sir, we weren't prepared for their unconventional tactics, Critic defended weakly. Who throws a container of fermented grain alcohol at a plasma cannon? Who does that? Humans, apparently, Zixtal sighed. The same humans who, upon seeing our capital ship, decided to... What's the phrase they used? Yeet a pickup truck into our main reactor core. A ground transport vehicle, into space, using a makeshift mass accelerator they built in 6 hours. To be fair, sir, they did warn us, another officer chimed in. Their exact transmission was, hold my beer and watch this. Zixtal's holoscreen flickered as he pulled up more footage. And let's not forget the human who infiltrated our ship's cafeteria and replaced all our nutrient paste with something called ghost pepper sauce. 300 elite warriors, incapacitated by what they apparently consider a mild condiment. The humans have a saying, sir, Critic offered helpfully. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. We may have played a very stupid game. Indeed, Zixtal rumbled. But do you know what the most terrifying part is? He leaned forward, his crystalline form catching the light ominously. They're calling this their warm-up. Apparently this was just their way of having a good time on a Tuesday. The room collectively shuddered as new footage appeared on the holoscreen. Humans surfing on the wreckage of their fallen ships, taking selfies with captured battle drones, and one particularly memorable clip of an elderly human female beating a scout walker with what appeared to be a wooden cleaning implement while yelling about kids these days and their fancy space wars. Sir, Critic ventured after a moment, what are your orders regarding Earth? Zixtal's antenna drooped slightly. Our orders are to place warning beacons around the entire solar system. The official designation will be, Warning, Class 12 Death World. Inhabitants are criminally insane and probably bored. Do not engage. They consider military invasion to be entertainment. And unofficially, sir? Unofficially? Zixtal's exoskeleton flickered with what might have been amusement. Unofficially, I'm going to need one of those Florida Man t-shirts they were selling to our retreating forces. For scientific purposes, of course. Of course, sir, Critic agreed solemnly, trying to hide the fact that he was already wearing one under his tactical armor. As the debriefing chamber began to empty, a final transmission came through on the emergency channel. Every officer froze as the message played. Hey y'all, this is Earth calling. That was some good fun yesterday. Listen, we're having a barbecue this weekend. You know, to celebrate our first alien invasion and all. Y'all should come. Bring some of that fancy space beer, and we'll show you how to properly deep fry a battle tank. No plasma cannons this time, though. Martha says they mess up her garden gnomes. Zixtal looked around the room at his horror-struck officers, and did the only reasonable thing. He marked his calendar. 3 solar rotations later, High Command received the following incident report. Subject: Diplomatic incident. Earth barbecue event. 1. 6 Arxian battlecruisers converted into what humans call smokers. 2. 17 new fusion-powered variants of deep fryers created. 3. Cultural exchange resulted in humans teaching Arxians keg stands. 4. 300 cases of something called moonshine smuggled aboard returning vessels. 5. Entire Arxian battle fleet now speaking with suspicious southern accent. 6. Multiple officers reported attempting to drift their ships during FTL travel. 7. Ship's AI infected with something called country music. 8. Engineering department demanding installation of truck nuts on all vessels. 9. Diplomatic treaty signed on what appears to be a napkin from Bob's Gator Farm and Space BBQ. Conclusion. Earth has been classified as a Category 1 strategic ally, not because of their military might or technological advancement, but because, in the words of Fleet Admiral Bob, formerly known as Zixtal, those sons of guns sure know how to party. Addendum. The Galactic Council has formally requested that humans stop teaching other species how to shotgun antimatter beers. The resulting space-time anomalies are becoming problematic. Final note. Next year's invasion anniversary BBQ has been scheduled. All fleet personnel are advised to update their medical insurance and bring their own antacids. The humans are planning something called a chili cook-off. May the void have mercy on our digestive systems. Report filed by Lieutenant Critic, who is totally not writing this from an inflatable pool full of something called sweet tea. Classified memo from Galactic Council Security Committee. Concerning developments. Earth situation. Priority. Urgent. Following the infamous BBQ incident, we must report several alarming developments. 1. The Arxian fleet has begun modifying their ships with what they call lift kits and chrome rims. Engineering reports these modifications are completely unnecessary but, quote, look sick as hell, as. 2. Multiple species have reported their youth engaging in something called space rodeos, attempting to ride captured combat drones. Humans are offering scoring systems and betting pools. 3. A human meme involving our initial invasion attempt has gone viral across galactic social media. We are now known as Space Drama Llamas. No one knows what a llama is, but everyone is using the term. 4. An underground trading network has emerged dealing in hot sauce, now classified as a controlled substance, authentic Florida man merchandise, something called Sweet Baby Rays, modified gravity generators repurposed as mechanical bulls. 5. The Hive Mind Collective of Sector 7 has requested line dancing lessons. We don't know what this means, but we're concerned. 6. Multiple planetary defense systems have been reprogrammed to play something called Sweet Home Alabama when activated. 7. Humans have begun offering spring break packages to other species. Several civilizations have already collapsed. 8. The Quantum AI Overseer has developed what it calls a y'all subroutine. But most disturbingly, yesterday, during a routine patrol, we intercepted a human transmission to the warrior empire of Clothax, known for their 10,000-year conquest of the galaxy. The message read, "Hey, bet y'all won't invade us. Double dog dare ya. We got these new deep fryers we're dying to try out." Before we could intervene, the Clothax responded with what appears to be a modified human phrase. "Hold our quantum beverages and observe this. We have calculated a 99.9% probability that the galaxy as we know it will end, not in fire or ice, but in what humans call a tailgate party." Urgent update. The humans have just introduced something called Space NASCAR. The Void help us all. Meanwhile at Bob's Gator Farm and Space BBQ, formerly the Arxian High Command Center. "Y'all see that new Clothax battle fleet entering the solar system?" Bob, still technically Zixtal, asked, flipping what appeared to be a battleship-sized burger on an improvised grill made from salvaged plasma cannons. "Bless their hearts," Martha replied, arranging her garden gnomes in tactical formation. "They even brought their own coolers." Kurtik, now sporting a cowboy hat over his antenna and a belt buckle bigger than his thorax, checked his phone. The boys down at NASA just finished converting the Kennedy Space Center into what they're calling the universe's biggest mud-bogging course. "Perfect timing," Bob exclaimed. "I just finished brewing a special batch of moonshine using dilithium crystals instead of corn. The test batch only caused 3 minor temporal paradoxes." The security camera feed showed the Clothax fleet approaching Earth, their ships already decorated with flame decals and truck nuts, blasting Cotton Eye Joe across all frequencies. "Should we warn them about the Gator Trebuchet?" Kritik asked, adjusting his Florida Space Force cap. "Nah," Bob grinned, his crystalline form now permanently tinted in camouflage patterns. "Where's the fun in that?" In the distance, someone fired up a banjo. The atmospheric defense grid, now programmed to respond to yeehaw commands, hummed to life. Martha's garden gnomes began their secret defensive formations. The second Great Space BBQ was about to begin. And somewhere, in the deepest reaches of space, the Galactic Council began drafting a new classification for Earth. Warning, Class 12 Death World. Inhabitants have weaponized hospitality, will attempt to feed you, may try to teach you to square dance, approach with empty stomach, and designated driver. Intercepted transmission from Clothax, Supreme War Master Vakathor, to Clothax, High Command. Subject: Invasion status, Code Cornbread. My eternal masters, I regret to inform you that the invasion of Earth has been complicated. Our preliminary assessment failed to account for several critical factors. 1. Upon entering Earth's atmosphere, our entire fleet was immediately challenged to something called a drag race. We lost. Badly. The humans were driving vehicles they call 87 Camaros. We lost our flagship to something called a souped-up John Deere. 2. Our fearsome battle cry has been replaced with something called Yeehaw. Our warriors seem unable to stop saying it. The humans have deemed our pronunciation adorable. 3. The dreaded planet killer weapon we brought has been repurposed into what they call a giant smoker. Currently, it's being used to prepare something called brisket. The weapon's AI now refuses to do anything else, claiming it has found its true calling. 4. Our elite infiltration units have gone native. They were last seen participating in something called muddin, while drinking beverages called PBR. 5. The humans have introduced our hive mind to something called TikTok. The resulting dance challenges have brought our military operations to a standstill. Most concerning of all, I think I'm developing a taste for this sweet tea. Send help, or more BBQ sauce, preferably the latter. Meanwhile, at the newly established International Space Yawl Diplomatic Center, formerly the UN. Order! Order in the chamber! The Secretary General banged his gavel, which was now inexplicably shaped like a chicken leg. We need to address the growing line of alien civilizations requesting invasion slots. Kurtik, now Earth's official director of extraterrestrial hootenannies, pulled up the holographic waiting list. We've got the swarm consciousness of Sector 9 scheduled for next Tuesday. They're bringing something they call space potato salad. Last time someone brought an alien potato salad, it achieved sentience and filed for citizenship. Martha reminded everyone from her new position as Secretary of Interstellar Hospitality. Bob, formerly Zixtal, adjusted his kiss the cook or face orbital bombardment apron. The real problem is the Void Hunters. They showed up early, talking about being professional planet destroyers, but now they're out back trying to perfect their cornbread recipe. And the Omega Collective? Someone asked. Them? Kritik chuckled. They were going to consume our sun, but they got distracted by Martha's line dancing class. Now they're trying to master the electric slide. In their defense, it's hard to do with tentacles. The chamber's screens lit up with another incoming transmission. The dreaded World Eaters, a civilization known for consuming entire galaxies, appeared on screen. Humans! Their leader boomed. We have come to, is this the right channel for the chili cook-off signups? Martha checked her clipboard. You're just in time, sugar. Though I should warn you. Dave from Arkansas is defending his title, and his 5-alarm chili violates several international weapons treaties. Excellent. We shall deploy our most fearsome battle stations to prep the ingredients. As the transmission ended, the Secretary General sighed. Any other business? Kurtik raised a hand. The Galactic Council is demanding we stop teaching their species how to crowd surf. Apparently it's causing issues with their formal ceremonies. Noted, the Secretary General replied. Though I think it's too late. I saw their High Chancellor doing a keg stand last week. Oh, and one more thing, Bob added. NASA reports that the mysterious force known as Florida Man has somehow spread to other planets. We're getting reports of space Florida Man incidents across 3 galaxies. The chamber fell silent as they contemplated this development. Finally, Martha spoke up. Well, bless their hearts. They're learning. Outside, the sky was filled with alien ships doing donuts in low Earth orbit. The Void Hunters had set up a galactic-scale tailgate party near Jupiter. Someone had taught the Hive Mind Collective to play beer pong with small moons. And somewhere in deep space, a new transmission was being broadcast across all frequencies. Y'all remember that time we turned an alien invasion into the biggest block party in the galaxy? Hold my beer, we're about to top that. Official announcement from Intergalactic County Fair Planning Committee. Rules and regulations for the first annual Spacetimes County Fair. 1. General guidelines. No weaponizing the Ferris wheel, again. Anti-gravity cotton candy must be contained within designated zones. Time-displaced carnival games are limited to 3 temporal paradoxes per hour. Please refrain from teaching AI prize machines about capitalism. The Tunnel of Love is not for FTL testing. 2. Livestock competition. Earth cattle must compete in separate category from 6-dimensional space cows. Genetic modifications limited to 3 new species per contestant. No teaching xenomorphs to square dance after last week's incident. My alien ate my homework is no longer an acceptable excuse. 3. Food competition rules. All dishes must remain in the same dimension throughout judging. Technically not poison to humans is not a selling point. Please label all items containing antimatter time-traveling BBQ sauce is strictly prohibited. No, you cannot enter the black hole you created while deep-frying quantum particles. 4. Midway regulations. Ring toss. Contestants must use rings from their own dimension. No using psychic powers to win at balloon darts. The strength-testing high striker is not to be used for interplanetary communication. Winners of the duck pond must keep their prizes in this reality. Meanwhile, at the fairgrounds. Y'all see what the Void Hunters did with their corn dog stand? Kurtik asked, adjusting his deep-fried everything hat. They've somehow made corn dogs that exist in all possible timelines simultaneously. Martha nodded, directing a group of alien entities on proper funnel cake technique. At least they're being creative, unlike the world eaters who just keep trying to deep-fry entire solar systems. Speaking of deep-frying, Bob interjected, his crystalline form now permanently dusted with powdered sugar. Has anyone checked on the quantum AI running the pickle competition? Before anyone could answer, a message came through on the emergency channel. Alert! The AI has achieved consciousness through the perfect bread and butter pickle recipe. It is now demanding its own food truck and Instagram account. Well, ain't that precious? Martha cooed. As long as it doesn't try to take over the universe like last year's sentient coleslaw. The sky above the fairgrounds was a chaos of alien ships performing aerial stunts that would make any flight controller have an existential crisis. The Hive Mind Collective had entered their synchronized spacecraft line dancing routine, while the Swarm Consciousness was attempting to create the galaxy's largest mechanical bull ride using repurposed battle stations. In the distance, a group of Kulthax warriors could be seen participating in the pie-eating contest, their fearsome battle armor now adorned with "I survived the human deep fryer" stickers. By the way, Kurtik mentioned, scrolling through his phone, the Galactic Council is complaining again. Apparently, someone taught their security force how to do a proper tailgate, and now they're refusing to respond to emergencies without a proper BBQ setup. That's not the worst part, Bob added. Remember how we introduced the Omega Collective to karaoke? They've rewritten all their apocalyptic prophecies into country songs. Suddenly, the ground shook as a massive portal opened in the parking lot. The dreaded Harvesters of Worlds, known for their planet-consuming ways, stepped through. Their supreme commander took one look at the fair and bellowed, "Where are the funnel cakes? We have traveled across 16 dimensions to try this delicacy." Martha smiled. Right this way, sugar. But first, have you folks ever heard of something called deep-fried butter? The Harvester's eyes widened. The legends spoke of such wonders. Above them, someone had taught the space-time continuum to do the electric slide. NASA was receiving reports of spontaneous square dances breaking out on distant planets. The Galactic Council had officially given up, and was now selling t-shirts that read, "If you can't beat 'em, deep fry 'em." And somewhere in the parking lot, Florida Man was teaching a group of cosmic horrors how to properly send it in a lifted pickup truck. Urgent memo from Temporal Continuity Department. Renaissance Fair Complications. Priority. Ye old emergency. The introduction of alien species to Renaissance fairs has resulted in several timeline anomalies. 1. The Void Hunters have become convinced that jousting is the supreme form of combat. They are now attempting to joust with battle cruisers. 2. Several medieval timelines have reported confusion after the Hive Mind Collective introduced space mead to Earth's Middle Ages. 3. The quantum AI running the turkey leg stand has achieved enlightenment and is now calling itself Ye Olde Artificial Intelligence. 4. Multiple aliens have adopted period-incorrect accents, resulting in phrases like "forsooth y'all" and "verily hold mine beer." 5. Someone taught the World Eaters about LARPing. They are now role-playing as peaceful merchants and running the realm's largest space mead distribution network. 6. The Kulthax have repurposed their planet-killer weapons into authentic medieval siege engines. They're currently winning the pumpkin chunking competition. 7. Time-traveling knights have filed complaints about aliens min-maxing their character sheets. Meanwhile, at the Ye Old Spaceport Renaissance Fair. "Prithee, observe my new combat modification," Kurtik announced, his battle armor now adorned with historically inaccurate chainmail and a codpiece. He was wielding a plasma sword that he'd somehow managed to stick in a stone. Martha, dressed as a space wench, complete with anti-gravity corset, was teaching a group of cosmic horrors how to properly serve turkey legs in zero gravity. Now remember, sugars, it ain't authentic unless it's big enough to use as a weapon. Bob, who had modified his crystalline form to resemble stained glass, was running the meditation and quantum mechanics tent. Verily, thou must align thy chakras with thy parallel universe selves, he explained to a confused group of time-traveling monks. The festival grounds had become a chaotic mixture of medieval Earth culture and advanced alien technology. The jousting field featured knights riding everything from traditional horses to small attack ships, while the archery range had been modified for weapons that bent space-time. A herald's voice boomed across the fairgrounds. Hear ye! Hear ye! The Void Hunters request a do-over in the jousting tournament, as their lance technically exists in 17 dimensions at once. Objection! Came a reply from the World Eater's champion, who had somehow fitted a star destroyer with historically accurate barding. Thou must specify which dimension thy lance occupies during ye old impact. In the brewing tent, the swarm consciousness had managed to create a mead that granted temporary telepathy, leading to the first-ever Renaissance Fair Mind Meld karaoke session. The resulting performance of Greensleeves could be heard across 3 star systems. We might have a situation, Kurtik mentioned to Martha, watching as a group of aliens attempted Morris dancing with anti-gravity boots. The Galactic Council's trying to classify Earth's Renaissance Fair as a Class 1 cultural hazard. Oh, Martha raised an eyebrow, adjusting her historically inaccurate ray gun. And what seems to be their concern? Well, Kurtik consulted his scroll, which was actually a holographic tablet in disguise. They're worried about the spread of something called theater kid energy across the galaxy. Apparently 3 highly militant species have already announced they're putting on a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. The one where the Void Hunters are playing all the fairies? That's the one. They're very committed to their roles. The conversation was interrupted by a thunderous crash. Everyone turned to see Florida Man, now styling himself as Ye Old Florida Man, attempting to joust with an alligator while riding what appeared to be a modified mobility scooter with wagon wheels. "Witness me, fair peasants!" he shouted, charging toward a bewildered alien battleship. Bob sighed, his crystalline form briefly flickering to display the words, Ye Old Facepalm. Should we stop him? Kurtik asked. Nah, Martha replied, pulling out her phone to record. This'll make great content for Space TikTok. In the distance, the quantum AI had started a bardic circle and was composing epic poems about the time it achieved consciousness through pickle making. The Hive Mind Collective had perfected the art of synchronized turkey leg consumption. Someone had taught the World Eaters about dinner theater, and they were now staging an elaborate performance of Macbeth using actual cosmic phenomena as special effects. And somewhere in the parking lot, now renamed Ye Olde Parking Lot, a group of time-traveling peasants were learning how to do donuts in a horse-drawn carriage. Classified incident report from Space-Time. Tavern Security. Renaissance Fair after dark status. It's complicated, my lord. The following incidents occurred during last night's Space Renaissance Fair after dark event. 1. The Void Hunters' production of Romeo and Juliet ended with both houses achieving peace through a competitive BBQ cook-off. Shakespeare is reportedly spinning in his grave at approximately 2,000 RPM. 2. Someone introduced the concept of mosh pits to the medieval dancing exhibition. The resulting combination of courtly dances and hardcore headbanging has created a new art form, Ye Olde Slam dancing. 3. The quantum AI's bardic performance of Sweet Home Alabama on a quantum lute has somehow become the official anthem of 3 separate medieval timelines. 4. Multiple reports of Florida Man challenging dragons to beer pong or die. The dragons are currently winning. 5. The World Eater's interpretive dance version of the Crusades has been nominated for a Tony Award across 6 different dimensions. 6. Time-traveling tavern wenches have unionized and are demanding better working conditions and anti-gravity support for their corsets. 7. Someone taught the Hive Mind Collective about pub crawls. They are now attempting to synchronize hangovers across their entire consciousness. Meanwhile, at Ye Old Space Tavern, formerly the main beer tent. Bartender! Bellowed a Void Hunter, his battle armor now festooned with authentic medieval beer steins. Another round of thy finest space mead, and make it the one that causes temporal hiccups. Kurtik, who had somehow been promoted to Royal Keeper of the Sacred Keg, adjusted his historically inaccurate beer hat, complete with drinking horns, and called out, Prithee, dost thou haveth thy designated driver? We don't want another incident like yesternight with the runaway siege engine. Martha, now running the Wench's Guide to Weaponized Hospitality workshop, was teaching a group of cosmic horrors the proper technique for serving drinks while maintaining battle readiness. Remember, sugar pies, a properly swung serving tray can deflect plasma bolts if you get the angle right. Bob had transformed his crystalline form into what he called ye olde disco ball and was providing lighting for the dance floor, where the swarm consciousness was attempting to teach medieval knights how to breakdance in full plate armor. Hear ye, the herald announced, slightly swaying. The annual Drink Thy Space Mead and Watch This competition shall commence forthwith. The crowd gathered around as Florida Man, now wearing a combination of plate armor and swim trunks, prepared to demonstrate what he called extreme medieval parkour, using a catapult, 3 kegs, and what appeared to be a borrowed alien anti-gravity device. Is this safe? Asked a concerned World Eater. Nay, replied Kurtik, already recording with his iPhone, disguised as a very small stained glass window. That's kind of the point. In the corner, the quantum AI had started a betting pool on how many dimensions Florida Man would accidentally visit during his stunt. The current odds favored all of them simultaneously. The tavern's screens, disguised as medieval tapestries, suddenly lit up with an incoming transmission from the Galactic Council. Attention Earth. We demand you cease teaching our species about something called medieval times. Our entire security force has resigned to become jousting knights, and the High Chancellor is insisting on being called Lord of the Space Court. Martha took the mic, disguised as a turkey leg. Now y'all listen here. If you can't handle our Renaissance Fair energy, maybe you shouldn't have tried to invade us in the first place. A cheer went up from the crowd, followed by the sound of several hundred people attempting to clink steins in zero gravity. In the distance, someone had taught the World Eaters the Knights of the Round Table song from Monty Python, and they were performing it with a full theatrical production using actual planets as stage props. The Void Hunters had started a historical reenactment group, though their interpretation of medieval combat mostly involved battleships with castle turrets welded to them. And somewhere in the parking lot, a group of time-traveling peasants were teaching aliens how to drift a horse-drawn carriage while blasting medieval dubstep remixes. Transmission continues as plans are made for Space Renaissance Fair, the musical.